Higher design websites tend to be a little less flexible in adapting to content needs. For example, the card styles here display 7 different services. It would be easy to add an 8th service by moving the content around to have 2 rows of 4. However, what would happen if there was 9 services or 5 services listed? Even if the content is not yet developed, understanding how the content can vary is very important information to provide to the designer so they can make sure to accommodate all of these variances within the content. So understanding the content, especially when it comes to data, is crucial to know before you start the design. For example, this client has many different facilities across the Midwest. Each facility has awards, ratings, and measurements of performance. This example shows all 4 options of how each location can be ranked. But most locations only have 1 or 2 rating types to display. So what happens, for example, if a location doesn't have any additional awards to present? And that's the data displaying in the 4th blue card here. Does it just appear empty? Do we say no additional awards at this time? Or can we simply remove it from displaying and have 3 remaining cards fill the width of the screen? How would that look? So this data is being pulled automatically from a data field, so it won't be manually managed. So the design will have to adapt automatically to account for the variances in data between facilities. So what happens if there's only 2 cards? And 1. So all of these different options would need to be considered when creating the design. Not having the content ahead of time in this case that might not give the designer enough information to consider all of these different scenarios. And if the content variances were identified later in the process, the design may have to be significantly updated in order to accommodate all of this new information that the designer just didn't have ahead of time. So if some of the content simply disappears because it doesn't apply to that location, it can leave an awkward spacing and make the user feel like something is missing or like something didn't get loaded correctly. And this can become more and more awkward as more and more content doesn't display and disappears from view. Another important consideration is content length variances. So I created this updated card style for the client story section of our website. The design intention was to add more of the Northwoods branding to the card styles by incorporating our brand colors more. However, in order for this design to work, I had to test it against some of the longer client names that our portfolio currently has to make sure that there was enough room to display the longer content name in the colored area provided for each card. So these tests are easier to run with finalized content to help predict and prevent problems in the future. If the design is set first and the content needs to be added after, we could create these unforeseen issues that will just take a little bit of extra time to work and fix. If the content doesn't vary in length, there are more opportunities for a higher design that is a little more fixed and less adaptable to any unnecessary variances that aren't going to apply anyway.